Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, Imagine the Future of Retail with Digital Tech, organized by IPI Singapore. My name is Yuming. I'll be your host and moderator. Today, we have gathered 5 retail tech experts to share with us how they solve some of the biggest challenges in the retail sector by applying digital technologies. Before we start, just take note, we'd like to make this webinar as interactive as possible. Although all attendees will be muted throughout the session, if you have any questions during the presentation, please feel free to type them into the Q&A panel, and we will pick the questions and bring them up to our speakers to answer later. This webinar will be recorded. A link of the video recording will be shared over email to all participants. Sounds all good? First, allow me to do a quick introduction about IPI. IPI is a subsidiary of Enterprise Singapore. Our mission is to catalyze and enable enterprises to grow their business through technology and innovation. You can access a wide range of technologies and solutions through our online innovation marketplace. Companies can also explore support from our tech experts and innovation advisors. Feel free to reach out to us after the webinar if you wish to learn more and discuss potential technology collaboration with us. Without further ado, now let's invite our first speaker today, Sean Kwan, COO and co-founder of Trachomatic. Sean will share with us how computer vision and AI can help with in-store analytics. Sean, the floor is yours.
Hi, good afternoon, guys. I think you're looking at this now. Thank you for the time. We'll talk a little bit about the retail technologies that are a bit more rampant and vibrant today. First of all, let me show you a corporate video where we talk about the shopper's journey, looking at where do they go, what do they look at, and how do we capture some of their behavior. Let's take a look at that.
Artificial intelligence and big data are transforming the way businesses attract, retain, and grow customers. Bringing these cutting-edge technologies to brick-and-mortar business is Trachomatic. Every step, movement, and even emotion are captured and translated into structured data to provide critical customer intelligence for your business. Mall operators can now gain access to real-time demographic and traffic data. This data will reveal inefficiencies and opportunities, allowing for a true 360-degree view, and with it, the ability to build a high-converting omni-channel shopping experience. Trachomatic's O-Track and O-Sense technologies are specifically designed to make physical spaces smarter. O-Sense facial recognition can help promos display for its target audience, while O-Track then follows individuals for traffic patterns and final conversion. Shop owners receive real-time notifications with the VVIP visitor's name, past purchase, and campaign conversion details when they enter the shop. O-Trail sensors capture how visitors move through the store and engage with products. Every piece of data is fed into Trachomatic's user-friendly enterprise dashboard for real-time analysis and insights. Trachomatic supports its users with a wide range of integrations with third-party software like Google Analytics, which allows businesses to compare physical location data with online shopping data. Trachomatic users are supported by a team of experts who help to translate data into actionable insights. Trachomatic technology is IMDA certified and has a 90% accuracy across 650 million people tracked by the system. With next-level functionality, precision, and ease of use, Trachomatic is changing how physical locations are organized and managed. The advantages can be felt from the smallest coffee shop through to the largest public spaces like airports and tourist hotspots. Trachomatic, transforming physical locations into smart spaces.
right? That was a very quick introduction of the shopper's journey. In retail, we are all very challenged, I think, especially in COVID season. So what Recommedic does is we would like to capture the data of the shoppers to understand how all this unstructured data are able to churn them into very structured analytics to help you make business decision, because pure raw data is not going to help you very much, right? Now, this form of data, the easiest way to explain to you would be looking at the e-commerce. If you look at the e-commerce website today, we're able to capture using web crawlers a lot of shoppers' data. What do they visit? What do they buy? When do they come in? How much do they buy? And where are the sites that they linger? And where do they put into consideration? When they put into the cart, how long is it before they check out? And all these are the data that you have online. But in the physical space, we don't have much of those data. A lot of retailers are not familiar with the customers. Even for those who have a CRM system, you only have data of the members, but a huge chunk of these customers are not members. So how do you obtain this data? Trackmatic helps you to obtain all this data by capturing the behavior via video analytics, footfall traffic, shoppers traffic, individual tenant data, heat map, etc. All this we are able to integrate together with the existing data of the retailers. Like for example, the Wi-Fi, the CRM, you've got your Google Analytics, you've got POS data, you also have data from digital signagers. We're able to integrate all this into a single platform of dashboard so that we can send it to the various departments for decision making, from marketing to operations to staff, procurement, etc., as a single 360-degree view. Now, so essentially what do we do then? We deploy cameras or sensors and different IoT devices. So we capture entry exit count. We look at extrinsic footfall. We look at intrinsic footfall. We look at where do these people go? Where do they crowd around? Where are the hot spots? What are the conversion rate likes? How many people walk past and how many people walk into the retail? And when you walk into the retail, we also would like to know how many of these people will buy. And when they buy, how much do they buy at one time? The receipt, average price, etc. So all this we talks about the heat map and also to look at the visitor trail and engagement. So essentially, that's O-Track for people counting. The other offering that we have will be in O-Sense. We look at the customer's profile. We're able to look at the age group, gender, ethnicity, and the facial expression, for example. So we're able to capture all this data and to help you identify unique IDs like VIP, your staff or your members. Look at how often do you return, what are the repeat visit likes, and so that we can map them together in the different age group. Now, all these are data that do not violate PDPA because we do not keep thumbnails, we do not keep videos. It'll just be a mesh of numbers, and to be a little bit more graphic or animated, it look like a spider web. And there's no way that we can kind of decrypt it into your facial expression. So there's no violation to PDPA, right? Now, after capturing all this data, it really doesn't mean anything if you're not able to visualize them. So Trackmatic has got very intuitive dashboards, which I'll show you later. All this data going to help you to understand, for example, the peak periods for enterprise footfall. So what are the occupancy rates at specific time intervals? Where are the detail level performance by intra-level, intrazonal, for example? All this data must help you to look at the insights that you want to extract. And all these insights is going to help you make decisions to take action and set KPIs for an end goal. Because without this entire suite of consolidative derivatives, you will not be able to gather anything out of the raw data. And Trackmatic takes you, will lead you hands-on from the end to end from that perspective. So in terms of retail application, we always look at the shoppers first, the customer's experience. How do we enhance them? We also look at retail management thereafter, and how do you utilize technology? So in terms of enhancing customers' experience, we can integrate the data with your CRM. We can improve the loyalty program. We understand a little better of the POS data that were being captured, what they really mean, like the age and gender of the people that buy specific products. Do they buy complementary products, and do they buy competitive products? So all these are the data integration that we're able to help you extract. Ultimately, you want to segment your customers. You want to be able to target the shoppers a little better. You want to measure your campaign. Each time you measure a campaign or launch a campaign, how do you know that the campaign is performing a little better than the earlier ones? Was it just purely because of revenue? No, I think there are a lot more variables than that. And ultimately, we're looking at how do you harness technology. I think technology has improved quite a bit. I think about 6 to 7 years ago, when we talk about video analytics, a lot of them are still looking at high-level overview. But today, when our customers call us up um, for a presentation, they no longer ask for video analytics. They ask you very specific requirements. They'll tell you, we are looking at intra-level, intra-zonal comparison. We would like to comparison the various segments and the buying power and their decision-making processes, etc. They understand now. I think the customers are much more educated today. Okay. This is a sample of an actionable insights that we look at the different consideration. For a shopper, there are different consideration. The departmental store, there are different considerations. The dashboards that we generate, the insights, again, there are key consideration in terms of the basic approach, the progression, and how do you do complementary decision, and then go on to intermediate and advanced stages. Now, I'm not going to go through that in detail. You will be able to get the charts and as a sample for you for future referrals and perusal, right? Ultimately, we are driving towards taking actions, because most customers, the most basic question that they will ask, or in fact, the first question that they will ask is, thank you very much for the data. Can you tell me what can I do with the data? What can I achieve with the data? And how can I ensure that this data can help me improve my top line and bottom line of my business growth and revenue? So if we're not able to dissect and understand this end to end, raw data continues to be raw data. This is a sample of the heat map and the people count and crowd density, for example, in a floor plan. If raw data were presented to you, you will be able to see footfall, intrazonal, blah, 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 but you have no idea where they are. You've got to try to imagine where they are. Zone 1, level 2, zone 3, B1, it'll be difficult. Now, Track-O-Matic is able to customize this with a floor plan very uniquely to look at all the different crowd level at different places for visualization. This is one sample. Another sample will be the demographics dashboard. Now, these dashboards are not static reports. They are actually dynamic dashboards. So meaning you're able to compare time to time, zone areas, different demographics and all this. Every time you hover your cursor around, there will be different data refreshing at a 15 to 30 minutes range. To give you a better visualization of a digitization journey, you will look at the fundamental data first before you look at moving on to insights. Fundamental data like intrinsic, extrinsic footfall, crowd density, heat map, intra-level, intrazonal, even individual tenants, the age group and the gender profiles, ethnicity and emotion. Before you move on to video analytics, how do you extract the insights to enhance your strategies? And then you move on to the next stage to integrate with applications for wider scope of data like CRM, POS, digital signage. And then this is where you start to target the shoppers. Define their shopper persona, understand how you're going to target them in each step of the journey before you implement special programs like cashback module and going macro by having a centralized strategic view, right? This is a basic overview of a digitization journey and the end game. Now, some case studies that I'm going to share with you, two. One of them is going to be Setia City Mall in Malaysia. Typically, Setia City Mall has got a new mall coming up, and they're also replacing their existing mall's current people counting system. The technology is getting out of range. I mean, it has improved tremendously. People counting are no longer just providing data. We look into the marketing insights, looking at the occupancy rates, looking at the evaluation of lease rates. Retail wanted to understand footfall versus lease rates. Which one would be able to help me to generate a higher yield? They want to look at campaign, structured advertising slots. How do you improve your site layout? How do you improve your merchandising, display at the shop front, etc.? So in terms of marketing, operations, and management, all these are the results that they'll be driving at, right? Another, you would have been very familiar with Capital Land in Funan Mall. It is very new, about 6 stories. They're about altogether about 700 cameras or so, right? Again, they look at the entire mall in terms of shoppers' footfall, intrinsic, extrinsic, targeting the shoppers' demographics, covering all entrances and exits, including car park. They are also looking at per level and per tenant. Without diverging too much, typically these are the data that you would like to have. It is only by analyzing the data of your shoppers that can ensure a much more better business performance in your retail today. Retail are very challenged by e-com, and I think in the panel discussion later, we will talk a little bit more about how are retailers, how is the scene like, how is it going to be changing, how are they adapting, and how are they evolving throughout the world, and not just in this part of the Asia, right? This ends the very short part of my presentation. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll hand over to the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Sean. Interesting presentation. Next, we have Brendan. Brendan is the Chief Commercial Officer from vSense. Welcome, Brendan.
I hope you can see my slide, Yuman, if you can confirm that.
Yes, it's perfect.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time to be here. My name is Brendan O'Shaughnessy. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer of vSense. And today I'll be sharing with you a brief overview of vSense and the role visual AI, which is our speciality, is playing within the retail industry to enable shoppers and to deliver uplift for brands and retailers right across the world. So I'd like to start with a quick summary of who vSense are. We're the leading global provider of visual AI-based solutions for the retail sector. And we've been partnering with the largest and most innovative global retailers and brands for the last 8 years, helping them to deliver better customer engagement, improve e-commerce and in-store performance, and deliver ultimately a more harmonious shopping experience for their customers. Since we started, visual AI has evolved, and it now plays a number of different roles for major retailers today. The core capabilities have been centered around the uplifting of e-commerce performance through visual search. But today we're also enhancing online and in-store product discovery, improving the efficiency of retail operations, and even improving text SEO. Now, in addition to providing visual AI solutions to our retail clients, the vSense are also the only visual AI company in the world to partner with 5 of the largest smartphone brands. Our AI visual search service, it's natively integrated into hundreds of millions of smartphones today, each of which deliver real-time visual shopping network through the camera lens. We process over 400 million visual product searches every month, and this continues to grow quarter on quarter. Now, it's these partnerships that offer us a unique take on understanding how consumer behavior trends changed this year due to COVID, and hopefully we'll have time through the panel discussion to discuss some of those points a bit later. Now, when we look at visual AI and its purpose and usefulness across the retail landscape, it's clear to us that visual product search has taken root and is now a fast-growing trend globally. And we're seeing significant growth in Asia, particularly in markets like China, where the adoption of visual product search is also much higher to date than it has been in the rest of the world. So for us, when we look at visual search, we don't just look at visual product search, we also look at how visual AI can be used across a retailer, a brand, a marketplace's landscape to bring that technology to bear in a range of different ways. And we call that retail reimagined. So let's look at the basics of it. So what is visual product search? This is a great example of one of our clients using visual product search to help consumers find products that they're looking for. So in this case, it's a beautiful pair of shocking pink kitten-heeled boots. And you can see how well vSense visual search technology finds appropriate matches for them. So that center image there is the query image. That's what a consumer would upload to the retailer's app or website. And on the right-hand side, you see the results that our technology deliver against that query image. Now, when we go online and use text search for a similar product, so shocking pink kitten heel boots, you can see that the results are not quite so good. And that's really an indicator of the power and the effectiveness of visual product search. For products that are either difficult to describe, visual search really makes it easier for customers to quickly and consistently find the product they're looking for. And it's not only the rate of consumer adoption of visual search that's growing. What we've seen over the past 12 to 18 months is that visual AI product search has also seen upwards of 4 to 6x conversion versus text search. And this is in no small part due to the ease of use and the relevancy of search results, similar to the ones I've shown you, that are served to customers. And the fact that it's also a faster and frictionless online shopping experience. Now, consumers are very often inspired by what they see, the visual clue. And that can happen anywhere, it can happen anytime. And not always when you're online or you're in store. We can be inspired by a friend, a stroll down the street where we see something, or when visiting somewhere new. What I'm showing you here is an example of how smartphone-enabled visual search allows you to simply point your smartphone and use the camera to take a picture of any object around you. And we match that to products that are available for sale across the vSense shopping network, which is comprised of over 900 retailers globally selling over 350 million products. So this approach really makes it very easy for retailers to surface products to consumers when they don't have a direct relationship with them. It makes it very easy for shoppers to find any item that they're inspired to look for. Now, one of the newer services we've launched is our Complete Look recommendation engine. And this gives you an example of that. And really, by selecting any one product, and this might be a product from a retailer's catalog or a product picture uploaded by a consumer, this AI-powered recommendation engine surfaces complementary products very quickly and very, very easily. So a service like this helps to increase the likelihood of your consumers adding more products to your cart related to the products that they're searching for and increasing their purchase spend. So Laura is one of our Southeast Asia's leading e-tailers and one of our long-standing customers. And they've been using us for a number of years. But by combining style, preference, personal fit, and visual data together, Zalora were able to focus on servicing customers in a better way. And this is an interesting deployment in that, by combining these elements together, they're able to provide an unparalleled level of personalization to their online search experience. So shoppers benefit from a single view of not only what they're looking for, but from discovering products that match the style that they're interested in, but are filtered to those that are available in their size. So reducing the uncertainty caused by size inconsistency across brands, and that's a general problem right across the apparel industry, or seeing products a consumer likes but are not available in their size, means less unnecessary purchases in multiple sizes, leading to lower return rates and a more positive experience for their customers. So by providing visually similar recommendations to shoppers online and combining that with size and fit availability metrics, in this instance through a partnership with one of our partners, Pixabo, another local Singapore company, that really allows the consumer to focus on those products that are available to them, that they know will fit them, that they like, and that they can make a direct purchase of. And that reduces some of the overheads for retailers like Zalora. And it's not only in e-commerce where brands are empowering their shoppers to take control of their own search experience. Now, whilst e-commerce has grown significantly this year, and stores have suffered closures due to COVID, and in some cases permanently, as we've seen here in Singapore, we are confident in the future of physical retail. But what's needed for future success, we believe, is for retailers to deliver a more connected, more integrated and frictionless retail experience. And we work with some of the largest global retailers. What you can see on screen in this example is an example of an in-store use case that we've rolled out for a very major leisure brand globally. Once a consumer walks into their store with their app on their phone, they're notified that product scan is available. Now the camera is automatically enabled within the app. And that allows the consumer, in this instance, to browse the store and point their phone at any sneaker in that store. Our visual recognition technology identifies any of the scanned shoes, and we display on the phone detailed product information, including, importantly, the size, availability, information to that customer. So straight away, the consumer has a self-serve capability, which allows them to identify whether the shoe they like is available in their size in that store. And a quick tap on a button within the app also triggers a process where a store associate will bring that shoe in their size out to the consumer on the shop floor. And we believe it's a great example of how technology can be used to revitalize the in-store shopping experience for consumers. But for the retailer in question, benefits not simply an improved customer experience. The other benefit is that every consumer who uses this functionality in store leaves behind a record of the products they're interested in. And that data insight directly helps retailers deliver a more personalized experience to that same consumer in other channels. Now, enabling your stores to leverage the influence of online channels such as social media to provide in-store inspiration can also be a powerful way to engage your customers. And the use of in-store smart screens to display influencers wearing products that are available in the store is a great way to utilize digital in the physical space. And when coupled with visual recommendations, as you can see here, it's a powerful way to bring on and offline data together in a very customer-focused way. Smart mirrors, although not camera-enabled, do incorporate computer vision to provide a more personalized experience in the most personal spaces, the store fitting room. Smart mirrors can provide real-time recommendations to accompany the product you're trying on, or to fetch a different size or similar item without the need to leave the fitting room itself. It's an area that many retailers around the world have been experimenting with before COVID. Some of these initiatives put on hold or being paused this year due to the impact of store closures on their business. But we see, as we move through COVID going forward, we are anticipating we're going to see some of these innovations come back to the fore and become almost key priorities for retailers to help them transform the store into a much more enhanced interactive experience for consumers. So there are some of the visual AI services that we provide and how retailers and brands are utilizing them to engage customers and increase sales. Let me quickly talk to you a little bit about where some of the differences between vSense and some other AI solution providers. So whilst we've been doing this for 8 years, we have been pioneers in this space, but we've been joined by other visual search companies. We do believe there are certain aspects which set us apart. And this is what most, I guess, computer vision SaaS looks like. It's very, very obvious use cases around, visual product search. And I've given you some examples of that. So when you think about visual AI, you can be forgiven for thinking it's just about visual product search, what might be called camera search. And it's an increasingly common use case as consumers look for more of this type of experience. But if you look at, other providers, it's very much where the focus is. It's very much sort of standalone services that have limited integrated capabilities. So for a retailer trying to deliver a harmonious experience from online and in store, it's a challenge to undertake. At vSense, we've taken a holistic approach to this problem. So after 8 years of doing this, we've experienced of how the operational functions of brands and retailers, from design to merchandising to online, in-store and beyond, can benefit from AI technology. So all of those elements on the left of the screen here. And of course, we also look at the different consumer touch points that customers care about, right? So from social inspiration, Pinterest, Instagram, search, to product discovery, including websites, apps, and in-store, ultimately down to the transaction outcome. And what we've done is we built our technology around these 5 key pillars. What we're seeking to do is unlock the wide variety of use cases that help bring visual AI into the heart of retail and e-commerce and provide a multitude of benefits from consumer product discovery and inspiration and through to transaction, but also in the operational functional aspects and departments of retailers and brands. So for vSense, visual AI is not simply about visual product search, although that's a more common use case. you can see from this slide, there's many more use cases that vSense is supporting globally with our customer base of major brand retailers and marketplaces. So I'll leave it there. I hope that provides you a good overview of our AI services and how they can be used to help your business. I'm happy to take any questions later. You can reach me offline for further information. Thank you.
Thank you, Brendan. Great presentation. I guess I will imagine myself going to a smart store with a smart mirror inside in future. Yeah.
They exist today.
Thanks a lot. Next, we have Calvin Lam. Calvin is the head of business development from EasyLink. He will present with us their digital payment and e-wallet technologies, something that could be very relevant to us, especially during today's pandemic. Calvin.
Thank you, Yumin. Hi, everybody. Right, my name is Calvin. Right, I'm with EasyLink as the head of business development. Right, and I'm very, very happy to partake in the Imagine the Future of Retail with digital tech and with everybody here virtually today. Yeah, so I'm just going to start my sharing, right, in a few ways. I'm just going to do a quick intro about EasyLink, about what we do as a company and how do we engage our consumers, right? And I will also be sharing 3 essential key value products that could actually help you to drive footfall, right, to your physical retail outlets. And I'll be doing a case study, right, of what we did and what kind of numbers that we have achieved, right? So I'm just going to start off the quick video for everybody about our corporate EasyLink video.
EasyLink is building a future-ready enterprise, and we have grown strength to strength to become a trusted brand. We remain committed to stay ahead of what is now a digital-first world and to put connectivity back in the hands of our consumers. Introducing the EasyLink app. Nearly 1 in 5 Singaporeans, young and old, are on board our one-stop platform. We offer value-added services, from cardless motoring payments with EasyPay to our Easy Reload automated top-up services. With a growing list of top-up locations, over 8,000 venues across the country, we are affording greater convenience and access to EasyLink services. We're not simply selling solutions, we are connecting people to places. In partnership with an extensive network of merchant members, over 450,000 EasyLink rewards have been successfully redeemed. EasyLink has extended its acceptance beyond transit to include more than 35,000 channels across the island. As part of a consortium of mobile wallets, acquirers, and payment networks in Singapore, we are working to drive greater acceptance by implementing the Universal Singapore Quick Response Code. We understand the needs of today's consumers, offering quality and exciting products we truly believe in. EasyLink has sold over 40 million EasyLink cards, Easy Charms, and EasyLink wearables, and more than 270,000 EasyLink prepaid MasterCards, expanding merchant acceptance worldwide. Moving beyond the shores of domestic markets, we are set to bring EasyLink to the forefront of the tourism industry. We have surpassed over 5 million Singapore Tourist Pass sales, including passes issued via automated STP kiosk since its debut in 2018. All while we expand our offerings to include the SG Tourist Pass and STP Charms. We've reached another milestone with the launch of UTrip, providing no fees overseas payments in over 150 currencies in partnership with U Technologies. We are set to grow and keep our customers for life, right from their first purchase. With a steady increase in EasyLink app downloads and active users, we are making larger strides to meet the digital demands of smarter consumers.
Okay, so there you go. That was a quick introduction about EasyLink by the video, right? Now, at this stage, I'd just like to give you about EasyLink. As we are started in 2002, we are a wholly owned subsidiary of LTA. Now, If you imagine EasyLink, our core business is actually about managing the EasyLink cards, right? Doing the clearing and settlement. And if you have noticed in the video, we have also gone across the transit areas into the non-core business about doing our own EasyLink mobile apps, the prepaid services, the rewards, loyalty, and also the intricate little cute items like what we've seen on the video about wearables. Yeah. And in this slide, essentially, we have sold more than 40 million CPass compliant cards. But I'd just like to draw your attention to one of our key assets that we have. We have the affinity with our consumers, right, from cradle to the silver ages. So essentially, when kids are at primary 1 or 7 years old, they actually do have a concession card. And as they grow old and with EasyLink, right, they go into the adult stages and into concession, right, we also have the affinity with them, right? So essentially, we have about a base of 3.4 million active customers and about 1.6 million concession card holders. In this portion, right, I'm going to share about a solution called the EasyLink Rewards Program, and also another solution called the Quick Partner Onboarding, right? And perhaps these two solutions would be able to draw in footfall, be on board digital awareness about driving campaigns by leveraging through our EasyLink consumer base. Now, the very first one is the introduction of the new EasyLink app that we have done, right? And these are some of the core functionalities of the app. You can check your transactions when you link your EasyLink cards. You can perform top-up, right, at any point of time. And we have a rewards portion where we have the engagement with the consumers, right? So every time when they spend, right, they get rewards points. And once they have the rewards points, they'll be able to use these points and redeem for rewards, whether is it at your physical store or whether is it online, right? And these are some of the other core functionalities within the EasyLink mobile app itself. So on this portion for the rewards, we have actually launched this in sometime in about December 2017, right? We have close to about 1.5 million app downloads, and across an active base about close to 40%, right? And essentially this active base means that they are coming back to the EasyLink mobile app through the rewards page and to look at what are some of the exciting rewards, what are some of the exciting campaigns that they can actually do, right? So from a consumer point of view, right, we have that affinity with them. Now from a rewards, from a merchant point of view, these are some of the areas that you can work with us, right, to go into digital awareness and by driving certain campaigns with you, right? Some of the popular categories that we work with are F&B, e-commerce merchants that are online, yeah. And over and then we have also done a great engagement of close to 1.1 million rewards has been redeemed to date. These are some of the marketing channels that we do, Facebook and Instagram, EDM with an open rate of about 30%. We can do the in-app banners. We also do the mobile push notification. And all these channels are really about engaging our consumers, right, by driving certain campaigns with you, right, and driving the footfall, whether is it through your e-com platforms or whether is it through your physical retail stores, right? And these are the channels that we have. Now, apart from that, you can do offline redemption or online redemption, right? Essentially, this means that offline, I'll be at your physical store. When I redeem this reward, I probably can get a discount off or some other mechanics of the incentives can be provided. Online is about just keying in the e-voucher code, and you can use the promo codes that can be linked or dispersed to your customers. Some of the key partners that we work with, very local companies like Curry Times, Old Chunky, e-commerce, we have Lazada, FairPrice Online. We do a lot of charity and services that we work with, right? Like the Garden City Fund, and we work with partners from private transportation. And of course, we have a whole list of partners that we are working with too. It's a very simple, for the rewards portion to engage with you, It's a very simple 4-step process. We will work with you. We will engage with you to understand what are some of your needs. Yeah, we'll work on some agreements. We do some creative designs for you, and there you go. The rewards can go live within a matter of 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. Now, this is the second solution that I was going to share with you. This is actually called the Quick Partner Onboarding. Now, most of the times when we partners would want to work with us, there was always this thing about integration, working with them on a set of requirements that actually took a very long time to do that. And by the time to go to market, it was pretty long. So we needed to fix this problem, and that is why we have done up this thing called the Quick Partner Onboarding, where there is no complex integration that is needed, right? It is a fully automated platform that we can work with you, right? And this platform has some key benefits. Yeah, once you come on this platform, you will engage with all our consumers that has downloaded the app, which once again is greater consumer engagement and connectivity. And you're actually leveraging on digital innovation, right? Simply by treating this as a form of digital awareness or digital acquisition. Yeah. Now, how does it work? As you can see on this screen, just imagine if this tile here is one of your retail campaigns that you're looking at, and then consumer would choose the campaign to go in and perhaps do a certain action, and then he'll get rewarded. So instead of doing heavy lifting, this form of Quick Partner Onboarding is actually simple, no complex integration at all. Right, and once again, the partnership onboarding is quite straightforward. We do the engagement, marketing agreement, we do the creative designs for you, right, and then we can then go live on the platform already. Yeah. I just wanted to take an example of a recent partner that we work with. If you can see the screen over here, right, this is a partner with the Public Transport Council, right. Essentially, they wanted to do a digital awareness by collecting surveys. So usually what they do was a very face-to-face, on-ground kind of approach by engaging with commuters. But I guess because due to this current situation or this pandemic, right, they have leveraged on technology, right? And that's why we have tried this out with them. So we have done this with them on the Quick Partner Onboarding, where consumers will click this survey. They will do a quick survey, and all the direction and all the website will be then directed to the Public Transport Council. So we don't keep any data at all. So this is one way that retailers or merchants or business owners, right, if you're looking at digital acquisition, surveys or campaigns, this is one platform that you can leverage on. This is the last one that I have. It's about embracing cashless payments, right, driving towards our smart nation. So we have launched our EasyLink digital wallet. So essentially, the wallet will be able to make payments conveniently at your retail outlets, whether it's domestically or overseas, by scanning the SGQR, right, or the Singapore Quick Response codes. And of course, when you use that as a cashless ways of payments, you'll also be able to get rewards points, right, in your wallet transactions. And that's when you can actually use the points to redeem for rewards. So this is a little bit about the EasyLink digital wallet. And this is where you can scan and make payments with it, right? And further to that, well, I guess it's also a bit of wrong timing when we launched this with Alipay about cross-border acceptance. So essentially, this means that you can bring a little bit of EasyLink when you travel overseas. So once again, this is a little bit of some of our partners that we work with, Old Chunky, Curry Times, so on and so forth. Okay, so this is one last bit that I wanted to do a case study with you, right? If you recall on the EasyLink Rewards platform, we have done a campaign called the National Day campaign that actually stretches in for a month, right? The purpose of this was to do our own consumer engagement, where we work with very local partners, right, in this National Day campaign. And we have done things like spin the wheel, where there is incentive for consumers to win. There are very exciting discount and offers provided by the retailers, right? And all this is purely to engage the consumers and drive the footfall, right, to your physical outlets. Right. So this is one overall redemption that we have done. We have actually locked in close to 103,000 rewards redemption, or essentially there was a lot of footfall, right, driven back to the retailers and to the merchants. Yeah. Okay, so now this is my last one. And if you want to connect with us, you can drop me an email. I'm Calvin again, or together with my colleagues here, right, Geraldine Liu and Charlene Chia. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Calvin. Last but not least, let's invite Sujoy Golden, CRO from Visionary, to share with us about intelligent omnichannel engagement for retail shoppers.
Thank you, Yumin. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sujoy Golden, and I lead Visionary, which is an omnichannel engagement platform for retail. I'm here today to share with you our experiences and insights on how retailers are working to cater to the very rapidly changing needs of shoppers, and in the process meeting their business goals. You should be able to see my screen right now. At Visionary, we're an Apple company. We've worked with digital and mobile marketers for over 15 years now. Born in Singapore, we continue to be headquartered in Singapore while we've expanded globally. We're also IMDA accredited, working with, like you see, it's a mix of pure play e-commerce as well as omnichannel retail. We pretty much work with any business or any organization that has a consumer touchpoint, including the Singapore government, who work with us on a number of citizen engagement projects. And overall, this is a graph that many of us are familiar with, and has come to illustrate how the world has changed in the past few months. This is data from the US, which shows the growth in e-commerce penetration that's increased over the last quarter, and this is data from the first quarter of the year. This increase in penetration is equal to the growth in e-commerce penetration actually over the last 10 years. And this, while it's excited a lot of marketers and businesses, it's certainly not been easy to cope with for any of us, including ourselves as consumers. What we did is go back to 30 retailers, both business heads as well as marketers. And these were a mix of our customers and retailers who don't work with us as well. And we asked them these three questions. One, how would you describe your post-pandemic business outlook? The second question we asked them was about their biggest business challenges that they're currently facing. And the third one was about the top priorities in a 6-month window. And what we did was then get open-ended responses, collate these responses, and I'd like to share with you a summary of what was playing on retailers' minds. To the first question on post-pandemic business outlook, and this is rank ordered in order of importance. The first response we got was, hey, we're optimistic, we're pleased with what we're seeing, and especially from e-commerce brands or brands with significant e-commerce traffic. Also describe this scenario as a hyper-growth scenario. Second very common response we got was the situation is ever changing, is changing very fast, is dynamic, and is confusing. And the third response was also about how stressful this scenario was for respondents themselves and their teams. The second aspect we set out to explore was on challenges. The most common response here was the pressure to meet aggressive growth targets or expectations. And that's something that was on top of everyone's minds and was the thing that surfaced most commonly. Second was, of course, changing consumer behavior or preferences or categories, and we've seen that ourselves. Even as consumers, categories have rapidly changed, as well as preferences. And the ability of retailers to deal with this was a challenge that came to the forefront. The third was to meet growth expectations. How do retailers bring their team on board, both with existing team members as well as the needs to kind of grow the team to meet changing business needs. Moving over to priorities, we looked at the top three priorities were one, we are certainly seeing growth and consumers shift to digital, but how do retailers kind of capitalize on this behavior and translate that to their business benefits? The second was on the need to kind of very quickly figure out and build a new marketing playbook. Earlier playbooks were certainly not working or not as effective, and marketers weren't comfortable with this. So that was the second thing that stood out. And the third was, I think, something that we've all faced in our work, personal lives, the need to bring predictability back into a monthly forecast, quarterly forecast, and operations as well. I'll share a copy of this deck at the end of the session, and we'll have this sent out to all attendees and registrants as well. What we do at Vizuri is to bring together bring together consumers across all of their very different channels, and create technology and marketer controls to engage consumers, and in the process prevent lost conversions and prevent customers from churning. We do this through, in fact, we look at the channels at the bottom. These are CRM channels, email, browser notifications, app notifications, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, etc., and connect them with paid channels that every marketer uses today, be it Facebook, be it banner ads, be it your presence on social media. I'll get into two of our most common use cases. One is to how do you prevent your conversions from dropping, all the traffic that you are paying to bring in or that are coming in organically over the past few months, how do you increase conversions from that traffic? What we found is retailers who use standalone channels have certainly benefited from orchestrating these channels together and bringing these channels into one common platform. The example on the top of your screen is, for example, a consumer who's visited an e-commerce site, has added a product to their wish list. How do you make sure that this product is then targeted to that specific consumer who is outside of your many marketing, one-to-many marketing campaigns? This is what I think very simple flows and out of the box orchestration makes this possible, to have targeting based on consumers' behavior, as well as marketing teams to be able to set up those controls or customize those flows as well, right? So consumers, for example, who drop off from your shopping cart, or consumers who've shown interest in a product who maybe they found too expensive at a certain time, and whose price has fallen, right? How do you create those automated flows without having to depend on your marketing team running individual campaigns across each channel separately. Right? And we've seen this grow conversions for retailers by up to 28 to 30%. Right? Right off the bat, on integration of their product feed and on their e-commerce website or apps. The second thing that we set out to do was to increase efficiency of paid marketing spends. Our product is natively integrated with Facebook. We're a Facebook marketing partner, which means that we get access to Facebook's APIs and early access to new features. And what you see in your screen is a customer journey. The Visually Engage 360 product allows marketers to create these intuitive flows through like a simple drag and drop interface, where they can create customer journeys across different channels, create different branches of these flows depending on customer behavior, and let this run in autopilot, right? Either in the background or create it for certain occasions. Could be Black Friday sales, could be holiday season sales that are starting, and the ability to bring back, connect paid media and CRM media has direct impact on your marketing spend efficiency, right? So obviously you don't want to target a consumer on Facebook when you have access to that consumer, for example, on push notifications or on email or SMS, right? So typically these consumers who are targeted on Facebook in any case are then reached through the most efficient channels. And then if you as a marketer can't reach them through CRM channels, use the help of paid media like Facebook to reach and convert that particular consumer. The second goal that we are solving as a product is to retain customers and maximize customer lifetime value. What we're able to do is to identify these customers who are at the highest risk of churn and proactively engage them with products or offers that they have the highest affinity for. While we have out-of-the-box segments that can identify or predict customer churn and say, hey, here is either a segment or here is a customer that is inactive, has gone inactive and is most likely to churn and not return. And what do you send this customer? But marketers also have controls. For example, you see the segment creation screen where you can identify through customer behavior rules certain customers, for example, who haven't visited or who have not engaged in the past 15, 30 days and run specific campaigns on them. The flow here to your bottom right is an example where a customer has affinity towards newer product arrivals, but who has gone dormant for a certain while, right? How do we identify these customers, map them to their affinity that they've shown in the past, and automatically create these campaign flows within your existing marketing campaigns. What this leads to is also higher retention rates that is based on our proprietary product recommendation platform. Right? So we're able to understand if you as a consumer has engaged with product A in the past, are you likely to also purchase product C or product X? We've also seen cases where offline retail is getting back up on its feet. As consumers, we certainly aren't 100% digital today, while digital has grown. And the needs of retailers to connect offline to their digital engagement. They're seeing digital engagement rapidly grow, but how do you bring back retailers? How do you convert some of this digital engagement into offline, either offline traffic or offline footfalls? And that's a solution that's natively part of the product. It does three things. One is gives retailers the ability to expose your hyperlocal in-store inventory. So your stores that are closest to the consumers, there are investments that are already in place, inventory that's already in place. How do you expose that inventory on your digital channels without expensive ERP integrations, for example, right? Extremely simple. How do you do this across channels? Could be on your e-commerce site, could be on your app, could be even through conversational commerce. This is an example of Fossil connecting consumers on WhatsApp to their nearest store, creating flows where they can schedule walk-ins to their nearest store, and these are dynamic time slots, right? So as a time slot runs out, as it gets filled with a predefined number of people, we create show newer time slots or only available slots to consumers, and also create flows where we can kind of utilize the power of mobile to allow consumers to, for example, to chat with in-store salespeople, either through video or through text, and also very intuitively engage with products on the e-commerce store, create those reserve at store flows, right? Either to schedule walk-ins, as we just discussed, or even enable your curbside pickups, or even deliveries from your retail store if you've got that enabled, or very simply even just transact, right? Have payment enabled as part of this engagement, and close your e-commerce or complete an e-commerce transaction from within the conversational app or a chat app. The example on your right is Lego Bricks World here in Singapore, where consumers are able to search, and this is on Facebook Messenger, are able to search for, in this case, bricks that they want that are missing in their collection. Locate stores that have those products and actually reserve those products at store. And then close the loop in terms of attribution by walking into the store, showing a QR code, and which we are able to track and close the attribution loop. Very quickly, I think here is a case study with Zalora, whom we work with in Singapore and across the region. Zalora's problem statement was to reach shoppers who've dropped off, and drop-off rates are tremendous in the sector, in this category across retailers. And the need was to reach shoppers who dropped off, who've shown interest in a product, either visited the product page or added the product to cart. How to bring them back very intuitively without spending marketing bandwidth, and as a result, grow customer LTV. The second goal was, of course, to create a channel of communication apart from traditional email or just on the site itself, to engage with consumers. And we were able to create a one-to-one dynamic notification flow for Zalora, which continues to run for them. And this was based on consumers' behavior, product affinities, on either at a product level, category level, product recommendations, as well as trigger these notifications based on events like price change or product drop-offs, right? While also creating an entire pipeline for Zalora to communicate with their customers who were not on their website or mobile app. What did this lead to? This led to growth in contributions from these customers over 2.5 times, increase in CTR by over 2 times, and just significant growth in dynamic conversions compared to what was earlier running as static conversions, right? So these were static conversions based on what marketers thought best versus dynamic conversions, which were based on consumer behavior itself. We don't believe in a rip and replace. We sit alongside your existing technology, be it your e-commerce platform, your existing email service provider, your existing marketing clouds, attribution platforms, so on and so forth, and have out-of-the-box integrations with most of these popular platforms overall. Finally, we're happy to utilize our product experts to create a free custom researched customer retention guide for your retail business. please feel free to write to me directly. I'm sujoy.golden@vizuri.com, and I will get back to you very soon. Thank you, team.
Thank you, Sujoy. I definitely want to have a view of your retailer survey results. Sounds very interesting to me.
Thank you.
Thank you for all the speakers. Thank you. Now let's bring the speakers back. Calvin, Brendan, Sean, and then we also have another panelist with us today, Bikash Kumar, the Managing Director from Integrated Retail. Say hi.
Hi guys.
Hi, Yumin. Hi, everyone.
Cool. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to, virtually be with you all today, right? In this panel, we'd like to make it interactive and hear your perspectives on the trends that will affect retailers post-crisis, and also the strategic imperatives that they can adopt to strive in the next normal. So since COVID-19 started earlier this year, some say that it has changed consumer behavior, perhaps permanently. For one thing, I do notice that as a lady myself, I have bought way fewer dresses, but more t-shirts this year, comparing to past few years. So in your experience, how did this crisis change consumer behavior so far? Bikash, maybe you want to take this first?
Yeah, thank you, Yumin. Like you rightly pointed out, the consumer behaviors have changed, and somewhat permanently. I have some empirical data from customers who we work with. So lipsticks as a category has really dropped off the chart because everyone is working behind masks. Whereas eye makeup has made a resurgence. So that is real consumer behavior in action for you, and that is affected by the COVID-19 situation. Similarly, in clothing categories, footwear has taken a huge drop because people are working out of home. So probably they are sitting at home bare feet, or they are wearing their flip-flops. At the same time, wraparound jackets and wraparound shirts or jackets, etc., have gone up. So those are some merchandise related changes that we see affected by COVID-19. I'll wait to hear from the other panelists as to what they have seen.
Sounds very interesting. The rest, I did notice that one thing though. The Zoom, they have recently launched this new function to automatically do makeup for people, right? So I also noticed one thing that I start to use very little makeup these days, since I'm always behind the camera. So yeah, I'd like to hear from the rest. Brendan, you wanna share?
Yeah, Yumin, I think there's already 2 or 3 observations I'd share. I think number one, what we've seen is the growth of e-commerce in all markets, and that's pretty clear. It's an obvious one. It's something we witnessed. It's witnessed everywhere. We think we concur with the belief that it's a major shift. It's a permanent shift. It's not going to go back. All right, it's permanent. The second one was, I think Bikash talked a little bit about this. Non-essential retail was badly hit, and we have seen recovery in that, but it did take a while to recover. And what we saw, I talked a bit earlier about our partnership with 5 of the major smartphone brands. So we've got a sort of front row seat into what consumers look for when they look for products, right? When they do it visually. So we process, close to 500 million searches a month. And what we saw in, I think, a large proportion that comes from Asia, a large proportion that comes from China. All right, so we had a very early ringside seat to it. What we saw was that all non-essential categories declined, pretty much immediately. That was understandable. Consumers were focused on, getting enough toilet paper, in some cases medicines, and increasingly over time face masks. But as months passed, when we looked at the data, probably by I think the early part of Q2, and it was obviously different recovery levels, different impact levels in different parts of the world at different times, right? As it went from east to west. But we did see a recovery in online buying in non-essential goods, and I think that for us, when we looked at the category breakdown, that did include footwear. Now mostly sneakers, so still casual footwear, not formal business attire, but footwear was one of the footwear and sportswear were 2 of the categories that we saw come back from non-essential retail. And those two categories certainly showed probably amongst the largest increase. And we've seen that trend continue region by region, over the months. I think the third one is less about consumers and more about retailers. It's influenced by consumer behavior around the growth of e-commerce, which was, we saw, we heard, and we had discussions with many retailers and global SIs who were talking to e-tailers and retailers. They weren't optimized for e-commerce. And this crisis this year is forcing them to get serious about their e-commerce strategy, both about their business and technology strategies. And I think we're going to see more impetus in the market from here on for retailers adopting innovative technology solutions like the panelists are providing today.
Exactly. It's interesting that you mentioned this, right? Myself, I just recently come back to Singapore from US, and I do notice that wherever I go, I have to scan this QR code using this Trace Together app, right? Things like this. I know Singapore, we're already opening, we're in phase 2, right? And we're going to prepare for phase 3. But all these changes, in your view, right? And how can our retailers flexibly respond to these changes and challenges in an agile way? So to adapt their operations or commercial decisions to reflect its new day-to-day normals. Like maybe Sean, I understand you worked with quite a few retailers here locally, right? What's your opinion on this?
I think things that are happening today, we are all familiar. It's quite a common knowledge. I won't go into that portion, right? How you react, etc. I think everybody has been taking precautions, ramming up. I even see people doing a lot of buy one, get one. Just to boost sales. But I want to take it to a longer term. This pandemic, how long is going to last? I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. But for retail to die in the long term, it's not going to happen. Physical space will not be replaced. It's just not going to die. And like what Brandon mentioned, the e-com strategy, you really have to reconsider it very seriously. Now, coming back to the physical space for retailers, I think there's a need to really understand, how do you manage your costs? How do you evolve and adapt using technologies? I give you an example. Interesting, I'm in the retail sector per se. I never understood retail. I have a shop, I sell shoes size 7, one yellow, one green, one blue, 3 sizes. I have tons of stocks. And when the consumer walks in, they got no stock, it's a problem. It happens all the time when you buy a pair of shoes, right? And there's no stock. And then you lose out a sale. But looking at how you manage this cost now, we're talking about consumer experiences. With vSense, right? I'm familiar with your boss, or with your partner. So yeah, we started off together in Block 71, right? With all this, you're able to really understand where the stocks are. When do I buy? I can feel it. Last minute, I walk to the store. I just touch one of the sample. I've got my sizes all done. I make an order online. It gets delivered to my home even before I reach home. Those are logistical issues. So what does that imply to the physical space? You may not need a large front or shop front anymore to keep stocks, right? You could have been a transformation of the shopper's experience, meaning when they walk into the store, you go by a lot of enhanced feeling about very specific behavior. For example, the surf shorts. You don't put all the clothes or the clothing lines there. You play sounds of waves, the music that has got tropical music that enhances the experiences. And you scale down your shop front and you improve on the back end logistics. Work together with e-com so that you're able to reach out to the people together with Vizuri, people like Vizuri, right? How do you convert them? And I thought this is where you change the physical space downstream, and not just about the tactical stuffs here. The strategy downstream, what are you really going to do downstream? Not just this part of the pandemic. So that's my contribution from talking to a lot of retailers, customer enhancement, and leveraging the technology.
Yes, I think all of you, during your presentation, and more or less you mentioned about this omni-channel, right? And then I think Calvin also mentioned nowadays when we talk about customers are everywhere. WhatsApp, Facebook, online, offline. I guess Sujai or Calvin, right? And any of you want to respond? I see Calvin nodding, so I guess Calvin, you have quite a few thoughts.
Oh, thank you, Yumin. Yeah, I guess it is this current pandemic has affected everybody. Yeah, whether is it small business owners or multi-chain operators, including us at EasyLink, we are very much affected. But I just like to take this time to share about a few things. Well, consumer experience, I can't agree more with what Brendan and Bikash and Sean you have mentioned, right? About the consumer behaving has changed completely, right? E-commerce spending has went up, right? A lot of merchants are diving into that digital leap, right? But I just like to take a little bit time to talk about planning ahead and pivoting, right? I think that is something that we have done. Um, we have a set of our own or merchants, business owners, you have your own strategies in place. But because of this, you have pivoting, right? You're talking about applying different things, trying out, experimenting it, right? Just to get that engagement again, right? Planning ahead for us was also very important, right? Now, I think you have mentioned about the physical stores and the non-essential parts are coming back up, right? But you have to plan ahead, right, to catch that wave of consumers coming in. Look at your own consumer footprints, right? The trends of spending, what they spent at, and how do you then reinvent that engagement process with your customers, yeah, by leveraging with partners like this, the speakers here on digital technology. Look at investing in the right methodology also, right? And also another point that I want to point out is about you mean you talk about agile, right? I think it's something that I think is a good practice about agile methodology, right? You don't need to invest in a whole infrastructure, right, or business solution, but you take portions of it, little modules of it, you experiment it, review it, monitor it, and then if it works, start on your next enhancement, right, or implementation, right. I think this is something that I just wanted to point out. Yeah.
Sujay, you open your mic. So you want to add on?
Sure, sure. No, I think wanted to highlight again that this change is usually difficult to handle for all of us. Change is never comfortable. Certain changes are fairly obvious, like the shift in product categories and consumer preferences. But I think it needs very quick iterative actions on dealing with changing behavior, right? And it goes back to data. For example, we've seen that while of course there are obvious category shifts like footwear going down and t-shirts going up, but for example, we've also reviewing data has also shown us certain non-obvious changes. For example, sportswear sales of sportswear has increased. Who would have thought, right? So including running shoes. Goes back to, and I think we can rationalize that with certain reasons, saying that maybe fitness has become big because we want to feel good about ourselves, mostly working remote. But I think looking at data, making those quick decisions, and evolving from there on is important.
Yeah. You mentioned about this, reminded me, I was trying to buy this weights when I was in US, right? Just one day after the lockdown. And then I can't find it anywhere online. It's like sold out in 2 days on Amazon, like something, everybody's somehow going to buy weights, right? I think we have a question here from James.
James.
Yes. So he is asking about, on following Sean's mentioning just now, if there's something domestic retail can adapt to, and then whether this can be applied to travel retail as well.
Right. Let me just jump in quickly. I think travel retail, it is still retail, but it's also very specific. While we don't have a direct answer to that, Tracomatic approaches our solution in a quite a consultative manner. First, we'll dive into specific challenges. We want to understand, so what problems are you facing now in the travel retail? Are people not coming? Or is it when the people comes in, they don't buy? Or the kind of people, the segment and the persona, we are not sure of who these people are. Or we cannot even identify them, whether they are repeat users or are they repeat visitors, are they VVIPs, example. So these are your visitor or your patrons data that we don't have. So those are the challenges. We define them first. And then we look at, okay, so these are your challenges. What do you desire? Obviously, the answers are quite obvious, right? I desire that when they come, the high conversion rate, walk by, walk in, and then when they come in, we're gonna high acquisition conversion ratio. Sure. And then we'll look at, okay, if we utilize technology to capture this set of data, can it help you address your specific challenges? If it does, bingo. Then we have a solution. So meaning we'll deploy cameras to capture the crowd audience, the people, number of people walk by, how many people walk in. And if the percentage is low, then how do we entice them to come in? Was it the shop front? Was it the offers? Blah, blah, blah. So there will be ways that we can do, actions we can take with the set of data. Or we don't understand the persona. Okay, so we place cameras now. We're able to capture all these persona of the people. 60% of the females that comes in will convert into a retail sale. But 20% of males, only 20% will convert, right? Okay, so what does that mean? And 20% of these male, are they in the middle age, or are they at the seniors, or are they at the teenagers? So all these are the data that provides trending, that provides factual kind of insights rather than guesstimates. Well, if you run one retail outlet or travel retail, that's fine. If you have 10 outlets, you have 10 store managers giving you 10 different WhatsApp in 10 different manner and 10 different opinions. So who do you trust? So that's when you deploy technology for consistency, trending, factual, real time, right? So in a short essence, we don't have too much time here. So just gonna pause here for a little while. We can always take this offline and we'll be happy to have a chat.
Thanks, Ron. Yeah, I think you're offering a lot of suggestions, right, and also advice for our retailers to adopt. I wanted to shift this topic a little bit because today we've been talking about how technologies help retailers grow their business, right? Can you guys share some of the challenges you encounter while you're trying to implement these technologies with your clients, with your partners in the retail space? And this could be something interesting for our retailers, for our attendees to learn as well.
Right, I smile.
Yeah.
I smile. So can I start? Right. Okay.
Sure. Quick one. Yeah.
Sure. Very quick one. First, resistance, right? Because we are talking about paradigm shift. We're talking. Look at VSense. Look at Visuary. Look at Trachomatic. And look at EasyLink. How do we do business? How do you do integrated retail? To them, it's like, I've been doing this for 25 years. Right? I've been doing 25, 35 years. We don't run business that way. We know our customers. Okay. Then you don't need technology. So then the question is, if you are doing the business the same old way and to have business growth year on year, how do you do that? The only way you do that now, you change your CEO, you change your COO, you change your CMO, and hoping that they will improve. So that is hope. Don't do that, right? Then, in my answer to James, I also mentioned every investment you make, obviously you got to look at ROI. So therefore, insist from Trachomatic, Visuary, VSense, etc., to make sure that, guys, please help me justify and show me the results and ROI. Ask for it. Don't be resistant, because there'll be a lot of people who are skeptical, and those are the first major challenge. And the way they adopt technology is slow, and they kind of neglected the other part of it. Somebody else is doing it, and you are not. So where does that put you? Of course, we're not going to go to catch up. We're not going to be, whatever people does, we do, right? No, but you really have to give it some serious thoughts, and you have to readjust your budgets, readjust the mindset of your downstream managers and the ground force, because they may not be as well informed as you are. So there will need a lot of education to really help them understand where these are. Obviously, there'll be a lot of solution providers that may not be fully consultative per se, right? They would just like to give an offering and, okay, I hope you know what to do with it. No, I mean, as buyers, you can insist. on this couple of things. Unless you show me how I can attain these results, how I can make use of your solution, I'm not going to buy. So neither am I going to be resistant. Stay open and understand it and explore it.
Sean,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that, and that really is our place under the sun. We make sure that the technologies that retailers buy or they invest into deliver actual tangible results for the retailers. Okay, that's our shtick. But the big challenges that we see from a retailer standpoint, to answer your question, is number one, that a retailer is a retailer. A retailer is not a technology house.
That's right.
Let's look at this panel. There are 4 great product companies, and I, as a retailer, am excited to actually deploy all the 4 solutions. The problem is I don't have in-house talent. Okay, and that to me is the key criteria which defines success or failure. At the end of the day, if I'm a small or a medium retailer, if I'm a Walmart, sure, I will go and I will buy jet.com and then I will acquire and hire great minds. But but not everybody is a Walmart. So that's a little bit of a problem. So
yeah.
And just to add to what Sean mentioned, that you have to, as a retailer, make an investment. Out of deploying several, literally hundreds of projects, what we have found is that investment in a technology-led project for a retailer is never exceeding more than 1% of the previous 12 months of revenues. That's a small investment that a retailer can make. The equation for the retailer is either I incur that 1% cost and build my agility, or I face the prospect of 100% getting lost, all my revenues getting lost, and I becoming irrelevant. That, to me, is the equation that retailers have to contend with today.
If I may, Yuman, I think both Sean and Bikash have touched upon it, and from our perspective, we see it too. It's hard to align a couple of things. Stakeholder priorities is one, and I think it comes back to that ROI and ownership, right, across the retailer. But it's also what we're seeing, and look, for the product that we have and we bring to market, it can be as simple as deploying it in a couple of days or a couple of weeks. It's not very difficult to deploy a visual search capability. But that's some of the simpler deployable capabilities, right? But when we get into using visual search or our tagging solution or some of our recommendation engines in more, or our multi-product search products in more complex integrated use cases, that's where we find key challenges. And it's a retailer's, to Bikash's point, their capabilities to implement new innovations is a challenge. And that might be due to legacy systems, it might be due to integration challenges, it might be due to inefficient workflows or lack of automated workflows or lack of data, sitting in a resource that it can be pushed through a pipeline. Or even a lack of UX resources. We've got some of the biggest customers in the world in categories who say, Brendan, we'd love to do that, but I don't have any resources available to me. This is not a problem for small retailers. This is a problem for all retailers. So what we've done is we've established a customer solutions team. And we did it this year in the height of COVID because we recognized that, it gave us pause to consider, well, we've got products, but increasingly we're looking at products being deployed in many different ways, and it requires different types of integration, different types of customization to unlock the value of some of those use cases. So we've established a customer solutions team, and that's really beginning to help with some of those challenges. Because it is, Bikash talked about it, it is, and Sean talked about it, it's about ROI. We've got to focus on proving that our technologies deliver the benefits we claim. And whether that's through collaborative POCs with very clear success metrics, or providing insight analysis on what the data is telling us. For us, we're an AI company, and AI is still comparatively new. So it's imperative that we take that step forward to engage our customers in a way that can help them find ways to unlock the value of what we're bringing to market for their benefit and for their consumers' benefit.
Right. I think well said, very, very well said. I think if I can summarize a little bit, it's sometimes about customers, it's also about like the retailers. They need to know about themselves, because each retailer have totally different situations. They have different ways of making business. They have different ways of interacting with customers. When they choose or adopt different technologies, different solutions, they got to see from themselves, from a different angle, right? Put it this way. I think we have also another question from Veronica. So she's been asking, right, could the digital solutions being shared earlier be applicable to B2B customers as well?
Yeah, I can.
Sure.
I can take
Sujay.
that. The way we often, as marketers, we think about B2B as being very different from B2C, and at least with outwardly appearances, yes, but every business is essentially a consumer, a set of consumers themselves. Engagement, for example, in the vertical that we are in, is certainly has seen multi-billion-dollar companies run engagement for B2B across conversational engagement, across CRM channels as well. So I'm saying, just so as you, if you're a B2B marketer who's evaluating technology investments, think about different use cases for your consumers, but in most cases, the underlying technology is agnostic of whether we're reaching other businesses or whether we're reaching consumers.
I think if I may answer from VSAN's point of view, the answer is yes. We work with retailers who service consumers, but we also work with Steelcase, the biggest office furniture manufacturer in the world, who use us for agency distribution. So it's allowed, they use our technology, recognition technology, in a B2B app where their reseller partners will find products that they can pull into their warehouses and showrooms and distribute. So that's an example. We also work with an Israeli company called Yotpo, who deal with thousands of brands through providing marketing services, and they use our technology in the background to power automatically, provide automation into some of the services they provide their customers. So we're sort of seamlessly in the background there, enabling efficiency in services that Yotpo sell to their business customers. So from our perspective, absolutely.
Okay, for Veronica, Trichomatic, we deal with B2C. We do not deal with B2B because our end users, or rather the people that we capture, are the shoppers, the visitors, the patrons. So it is much more of offering the solution to the business, and the business are trying to capture the data of the end consumers, who basically are the shoppers or any visitor and patrons.
Cool. Thanks so much. You know what? I really want to continue this, but then I was reminded that we only have, I guess, 1.5 hours for this session. So thank you so much, everyone. And then you know what? Let's do hopefully we can do an offline session when Singapore open phase 3, right? So we can have a really round table and invite participants to join us. But yeah,
sure.
Again, thanks so much. We've come to the end of our seminar, and then thank you so much for our speakers today, for all of your very active participation. We hope that you have benefited from the insightful presentations and sharings. I guess a lot of suggestions have brought up by our technologists. They're not thinking from the technology point of view, they're also thinking from another shoes, right? From a retailer's angle, which to me is really good. Yeah, and then a post-webinar survey will be sent to you or via email. You can download the presentation slides after the survey. And then if you want to reach out to any of the speakers, or if you want to reach out to us, IPI, feel free to put that in the survey as well. Thank you again, and thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you at our next event. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.